coming up tonight on the news at 6.
I think it caught everybody a little bit off guard.
Helpful reminders of city snow rules as Curtis tracks the next storm.
Plus, home prices are soaring in the mining city. What's driving the cost up in one of Montana's original boom towns?
From Montana's news leader, this is MTN News at 6.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the News at 6. I'm Andy Curtis.
And I'm Marian Davidson. Thanks for joining us this evening. And a 50-year-old Helena man died Sunday evening in a crash on U.S. Highway 12 near East Helena. Lewis and Clark County Sheriff Leo Dutton identified the man as David Wayne Young. Montana Highway Patrol reported a pickup truck was traveling west at the East Helena Viaduct when the driver lost control, hit a guardrail, and came to a stop. Troopers say the driver called his family for help and contacted law enforcement. Dutton says Young was the driver's father and went to help him. MHP says around 8 p.m. while they were outside the stopped vehicle, an SUV lost control, hit the guardrail, and then hit Young. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Trooper Lucas Hurl said speed and road conditions played a role in the crash. Hurl said the investigation report will be sent to the Lewis and Clark County Attorney's Office, who will determine whether any citations will be issued. And with that first substantial snow of the year in the city of Helena, city trucks are back on the streets to deal with snow and ice.
MTN's Jonathan Ambarian reports they're easing back into enforcing winter rules for drivers.
Helena city leaders say they've had drivers out since 4 a.m. Saturday dealing with this weekend's snow. It was a sudden reminder that winter is on the way.
I think it caught everybody a little bit off guard. You know, everybody needs to find their ice scrapers and their winter gloves. And
trucks were out to plow in residential areas and put down sand on hills and in intersections. With more storms in the forecast, the city is reminding drivers not to park on streets designated as emergency snow routes during the day when more than 2 inches of snow are expected. David Konopke, Helena's Director of Transportation Systems, says the city generally doesn't enforce the rules heavily for the first storm of the year, but vehicles may be towed from those snow routes going forward.
If there's 2 or more inches of snow forecasted, to get your vehicles off at least until it's been plowed.
Property owners also need to clear the sidewalks within 24 hours of the snow stopping. Because Helena got snow on and off throughout the weekend, the city reset their countdown clock several times.
The big thing about the sidewalks is it's not just, yourself trying to get out to your mailbox, but think of the other folks that use the sidewalks, especially, the disabled community that has a tougher time getting around in the snow.
Konopke says they haven't made major changes to their snow policies this year, but they have shifted more of their drivers to be out in the early morning before the commute. Some of the city's snow rules haven't taken effect yet. Starting November 1st, boats, trailers, and RVs can't be parked on any city streets. They could be towed if they're left on the street. In Helena, Jonathan Ambarian, MTN News.
Konopke said the city did not use all of its snow removal budget last winter, so they are in relatively good financial shape.
And a great way to know if snow is on the way is by listening to this man, Chief Meteorologist Curtis Grebnitz.
Oh yeah, we've got snow and ice. Freezing rain is falling for parts of the High Line. Haze, temperatures are in the 20s. I'm showing this because we've got liquid raindrops here on the camera lens, but the temperatures are in the 20s. Liquid rain hitting the surface, freezing on contact. That can make for some of the worst travel conditions. And where you see that pink here, that's where we've got some freezing rain, freezing drizzle, very icy conditions, a little snow pushing towards the Glasgow area. And of course, some of us, like around Helena, Bozeman, and Butte, temperatures have warmed up well above the freezing point. But for that next storm that is coming in Wednesday and Thursday, another winter storm watch for the Rocky Mountain front east of the Continental Divide all the way out into Fergus County. We've got another couple of good wallops of snow before we get through this coming weekend. It's a potpourri of precipitation falling out there, multiple varieties, snow, sleet, freezing rain, and also some plain old rain. Here we snow again, another couple of plowable snows and record cold to boot. More in the full forecast coming up.
Montana is quickly approaching 24,000 cases of COVID-19. About 1/3 of those are active cases. The state also reported new deaths today in Lewis and Clark, Glacier, Missoula, Yellowstone, and Bighorn counties. That brings total COVID-19 related deaths in the state to 264. 339 people are currently hospitalized with the virus. Now, MTN numbers will vary from those reported by the state officials because we track data from the state and local health departments to give you the most up-to-date information available. The Broadwater County Sheriff's Office reports a positive COVID-19 case in the county courthouse and law enforcement center. As a result, masks will now be required at all times in the building. The courthouse has been locked. In order to enter the building, you have to be wearing a mask. In a Facebook post, Sheriff Wynn Meehan asked people to be courteous and understanding and follow the Sheriff's Office Facebook page and county website for updates.
Up to 300 Cascade County households could get some monetary help during the COVID-19 pandemic thanks to a large anonymous donation to the United Way of Cascade County. A private family foundation donated $50,000 to the United Way of Cascade County's COVID-19 Response and Recovery Fund. That money will be divided up as $500 checks to 100 local individuals and families impacted by the virus and economic slowdown that followed. The foundation said they will donate another $50,000 if the community donates a matching amount. It's called the Essential Funds for Essential Needs, and the program is open to anyone living in Cascade County who can show direct financial hardship due to COVID-19 related economic conditions. For more information on how you can apply, head on over to our website, ktvh.com. And the former governor of South Carolina and U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, Nikki Haley, spoke at an event in Great Falls earlier this afternoon. Haley followed Republican candidates Troy Downing, Elsie Arntzen, Greg Gianforte, and other speakers. She gave her endorsement for Gianforte as Montana's next governor and Senator Steve Daines in his race against Governor Steve Bullock. Haley also explained why the Montana Senate seat that Bullock and Daines are fighting for is so important.
All eyes are on Montana because of this Senate seat. Why? It's the 51st vote. It's the vote that will shift the majority. That's why everybody's watching this.
Senator Steve Daines was not in attendance. He had to be in Washington for the upcoming vote on Supreme Court nominee Amy Coney Barrett. We'll have a full recap of the event back here tonight at 10. And still ahead on the news at 6 is the mining city, Montana's next real estate boomtown. Details on Butte's high-octane housing market.
Montana's news leader. You're watching MTN News at 6.
Welcome back to the news at 6. The coronavirus pandemic is driving a real estate boom in many small western cities, and Butte is no exception.
And the shift has sent home values skyrocketing and kept agents busy connecting buyers and sellers. MTN's John Amy reports.
The coronavirus has put a damper on a lot of businesses, but there's one business in Butte that's doing very well.
Every real estate agent you talk to is grinning ear to ear because homes are moving as fast as possible.
By June, demand for housing in small towns and rural areas spiked.
I recognized probably 3 weeks in that there was going to be, I felt a boom. I mean, enough to where I hired 4 new agents, and they're all rocking and rolling.
Interest is coming from out-of-staters fleeing the large cities in states like Washington, California, and Texas.
They're buying things sight unseen, a lot of them paying cash.
The market value on properties in Butte and the region have gone up 20% since the beginning of the year.
We're kind of repeating what Bozeman is doing at a faster rate. I think it took Bozeman a little bit longer to get to where they're at, where we are seeing it almost overnight.
And sure, a booming real estate market and this anticipated growth may be good for the economy, but it's not good for everyone, and it does come with growing pains.
The downside, of course, the increase in prices of houses is going to be difficult for a lot of people. We're going to change, but we are going to lose a lot of what we cherish and what we've grown up loving here in Montana too, so bittersweet.
In Butte, John Amy, MTN News.
And now to tell those Californians what kind of weather they can expect here in Montana, Chief Meteorologist Curtis Grevenitz.
15 inches of snow in some places. This was from Friday. You can see how many locations. A lot of Montana saw in excess of a half a foot, even a foot of snow. And we have 2 more storms coming before we get to the weekend, plus sub-zero temperatures maybe. More on the full forecast plus weather-wise coming up next.
With Chief Meteorologist Curtis Grevenitz.
Welcome back. Over the last several days, Montana has experienced a potpourri of precipitation types. There's been rain, freezing rain, snow, and sleet. And sleet is not what many people think. In this week's Weather-Wise, different atmospheric conditions change what falls from the sky. Over the last several days, Montana has seen it all. Rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow. What falls from the sky and reaches the ground depends on how deep the freezing layer is above the ground. For rain, it's pretty obvious. The entire layer of the atmosphere is above 32 degrees, so just a liquid falls. For snow, the atmosphere must be freezing or colder at all levels of the atmosphere, almost all the way down to the ground. Yes, the surface temperature can be above freezing, but up above, temperatures must be 32 or colder. Now here's where it gets tricky. An intruding warm layer above 32 degrees, a few hundred or a few thousand feet into the air will create the other 2 precipitation types, freezing rain and sleet. Freezing rain is liquid rain that freezes upon contact with the ground. It coats surfaces in ice, making for some of the worst driving conditions. It forms when a thick warm layer above 32 degrees is on top of a shallow surface layer below freezing. The drops do not have enough time to freeze before they hit the ground. Finally, there's sleet. A mix of rain and snow is commonly and inaccurately referred to as sleet. Sleet is actually little balls of ice, raindrops that have frozen before they reach the ground. These little balls of ice tend to bounce off the surface and make a pinging sound. For formation, there must be a thin layer of warm air intrusion above the surface, high enough up so that when the drops fall into a sub-freezing layer closer to the ground, there is ample time for the drops to freeze solid. And now, you're a little more weather-wise. And we've seen all 4 of those precipitation types around the state here over the last couple of days. I showed you haze in the High Line, getting some freezing rain, freezing drizzle, and also some sleet. Great Falls, we've got temperatures 29 degrees. Head 5-10 miles southwest of town on Interstate 15, and it's 42 degrees. Helena, look at the low clouds, the fog there, warmer air coming in over the colder surface where we've got half a foot to even a foot of snow on the ground in town. Temperatures have been slowly coming up as we're looking at a little warmer air trying to push in here. Lewistown at 35, Billings at 33. It's 23 in Cut Bank. It's 42 in Browning, just a few miles off towards the west. Speaking of the west, we've got an earthquake here about a half hour, 40 minutes ago in the Gulf of Alaska. Under the ocean, magnitude 7.5. That's a big one. Tsunami warning issued for the coast here. Sometimes under the ocean, at the ocean floor, the earthquake can push the ground up, and that's what forces the water up, and then the water goes out. So potential for a tsunami for places like Alaska and also the British Columbia coast here. The precipitation, and I'm still plotting a few of the fires here, although so many of the fires saw significant precipitation, and with more cold and snow over the next week here, likely looking at the end of fire season. But this is the pink. This is the freezing drizzle, a little freezing rain out there. Cut Bank, even northeast parts of Cascade County. Get up a little closer here to around Havern, Fort Belknap, and Hayes. Showed you those raindrops on the camera lens. Well, we've got more of this, and boy, Highway 87 likely slick. Highway 2, the High Line, very slick here as well, with freezing drizzle, freezing rain through the night. Maybe a little snow mixed in out there around Malta and Glasgow here. But here's what will happen. The computer model wants to say it's going to rain here. However, it's icy. We've got temperatures in the upper 20s, freezing rain likely here for the central part of the state through the night into tomorrow morning. Tomorrow, maybe a little snow early around Glasgow, or even a few flakes of snow early around Great Falls. That system moves out. Tomorrow is a quiet day. It's a good day to maybe do some shoveling, prepare for the next storm system that arrives here on Wednesday. You can even see Tuesday night into Wednesday morning some of that snow starting to increase here as a new storm system will blossom and develop and move right across the state through Wednesday night into Thursday. Snow tonight into tomorrow morning. Again, out the High Line, we could have a couple inches there. Up over the Little Belts, the big snowies, a few inches of snow as well. And then heading into Wednesday afternoon and evening, that's when additional accumulation is likely. Several more inches. Great Falls, Cup Bank, Helena through Wednesday night into Thursday morning. As this storm moves on out, so we'll have snow again all the way through Thursday morning, little break Thursday afternoon and evening, and then here comes the second storm with another round of accumulating snow coming through Friday into most of Saturday. Before that moves out, we have Arctic high pressure that will move in with record cold for Sunday morning. Here's the forecast for tonight. Critical temperatures here down into the 20s with a mix of freezing rain, sleet, maybe a little snow here. Very, very slippery out the High Line. Even central Montana could be a little icy. Look at Helena, lows staying above the freezing point here tonight. Here's the forecast for tomorrow. Again, early on, maybe a couple of raindrops or a few snowflakes. A lot of the state warming up above the freezing point tomorrow. It's the quiet day because here comes another storm with snow blossoming across the state here on Wednesday, especially a little later on in the afternoon and the evening. The conditions will worsen. Thursday, waking up to snow coming down. That system moving out. Look at the cold air moving in. Teens and 20s for the highs here on Thursday. And then Friday starts out quiet. And then the next system moves in here, teens and 20s once again, and that snow will likely add up to several inches through Friday night into Saturday. Saturday, snow for most of the day, highs in the teens this weekend for Helena, lows in the single digits above and below zero. Record cold is likely in 4 Great Falls. A little sloppy tonight into tomorrow morning. Please be careful on the roads. Wednesday, a mix of rain and snow going over to snow into Thursday morning. And then Friday into Saturday, more snow dropping below zero likely on Saturday night.
Coming up next, one of Exploration Works' biggest fundraisers goes online this year. How you can help.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching MTN News at 6.
Welcome back to the News at 6. 2020 has been a hard year for many businesses, and Exploration Works is no exception. Because they are a hands-on children's museum, they have had to remain closed due to COVID-19. This year, their biggest fundraiser, Nightmare Fair, has moved online. You can bid on a variety of items, anything from a hot air balloon ride to a Blackfoot Brewery bundle, horseback riding lessons, or an Alaskan cruise. Exploration Works says now more than ever, they are asking Helena to support them through this difficult pandemic.
Of course, Nightmare Fair is always a big fundraiser for us. Pandemic or not, it's always been an important source of revenue for us. And of course, yes, this year it's more important than ever. Because we don't have the revenue from admissions right now. We really are relying on grants and donations right now.
To see all of the items up for bid or to make a donation, just head on over to our website for more information. And coming up, we'll wrap things up here on the News at 6.
News leader, you're watching MTN News at 6.
Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for making us a part of your evening tonight. And I've got some great news for you. The next people on the moon might just be able to get cell phone reception. NASA awarded dozens of contracts to companies to establish technology on the moon. It's all part of the agency's goal to establish a lunar base and maintain a human presence on the moon by 2028. Nokia received a $14 million contract to establish a 4G network on the moon, and NASA says the 4G network will eventually be upgraded to, if you can guess it, a 5G network.
Yeah, so you can get full bars on the moon.
Incredible. What a time to be alive.
Exactly. Well, that does it for the News at 6.
We'll catch you back here tonight at 10. Have a great evening.